You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome back. This is our fourth program today, and we are so excited to have you with us as we take this fantastic journey. This program is Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. If you are an expert in your industry and you have knowledge that's all in here, or maybe you've developed worksheets or templates, why aren't you on this platform? We want you with us. This is your opportunity to shine and share your lessons in 15-minute increments, because people get bored easily when they're trying to learn something. So we like to keep it nice and short, have a little quiz to make sure that you understood the information that you read, and then ultimately you'll be able to go over to our platform, A Better You with a capital U, and you'll be able to get certified. So thanks again for being here. Today we have two experts. These two keep knocking it out of the park week after week. I have learned so much. They bring a level of professionalism and expertise to this platform that is truly outstanding. It's what we're all about. So I want to thank both of them and bring them out. We've got Mr. Hiett Ives and Ms. Megan Sandwick. Hello, experts.
Good afternoon, doctor.
Hello, hello. As I mentioned, you two just continue to elevate your presentation skills. The content you're delivering is so relevant. Hiett, with your area of expertise in grammar and the author of That Ain't Not Right, which is resonating in my head 24/7. I told you backstage that I woke up in the middle of the night and I kept hearing, that ain't not right, that ain't not right. And for those of you who need to find ways to be more productive, we've got the productivity strategist here with us today, Megan Sandwick. So thank you to both of you for being on the team and being here to present.
Thank you for having us, Dr. J.
My pleasure.
So Hiett, you are going first, which is very lovely. Thank you. And I believe that you're going to share something about your lesson for, I'm not going to give it away, but another language. But before we do that, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, the value you're bringing to this great planet, and how people can contact you with, by the way, so nice, you put it right there for people to see.
Absolutely. I am the product of multiple schoolings, part of which was a Jesuit boarding school in the UK. And I had the pleasure this morning of listening to your celebrating Great Britain, where a family of 5 children, ages 6 to 20, all of whom are multiple authors each, is absolutely awesome. I was humbled and inspired. So and in fact, I commented that by writing, it puts things in a whole different perspective. And I was very fortunate to be recognized as a writer, as a 7th grader by British Jesuits, and have chosen to take that forward. And here we are today.
And you're going to present a lesson on another language. Are you going to share with us, or you want to wait until you start?
No, we can go. We'll hold it.
Okay.
I'll do it when we start.
All right. Keeping people in suspense. Yes. Megan Sandwick, please share with us everything that you're doing at Down with SPP.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Sandwick, and I am, as Dr. Jacalyn mentioned, I am a strategic productivity partner. And so my goal, and what I get to spend my days doing, which I love, I get to work with entrepreneurs and small business owners to take control of your time by the productivity habits that you have. And we know that productivity habits are everything from the time that we use, to the day planner that we use, to the electronic calendar that we use. And it also is our mindset and our expectations. And so today we are going to talk about the stages of productivity habits.
Fascinating. All right. I'm always learning from you. I can't wait to find out what today's lessons are going to be about. So,
did you know that there are actually 4 stages of building productivity habits? So we're going to talk about all 4 of those today.
It's good to know that there's only 4 because there's tons of ways to be unproductive, right?
Right. We won't go through the list of all the unproductive ways today.
I have a checklist of all the things I was unproductive with and still am. So, okay. Hiett, are you ready to go, or would you like to go to commercial break and come back?
Your choice.
All right. We're going to put you up, ready to go.
All right.
All right, Megan, we'll see you soon. All right.
Thank you, Doctor. And here we go. Yes, today is Latin, the influence of Latin. And here come my flying jets in formation. And we're going to start with an opening question. When was the Latin language first used? You can come up with a guess. If you say around 700 BC, you'd be absolutely correct. When did people stop speaking Latin? Well, you go forward to the fall of Rome, which was 476 AD. So it had about a 1200-year reign. Now, interestingly enough, using Latin, AD stands for Anno Domini, which is in the year of the Lord, and is, of course, after Christ, years after Christ. But BC does not have a Latin equivalent. That's before Christ. So just a little tidbit there. A little more history. Let me back up here. A little bit of history about Rome. Rome was founded in 753 BC by twin brothers, Romulus and Remus. Some accounts claim that these were the siblings of and children of Mars, the god of war. Latin first appeared on the Palatine Hill, which is one of the 7 hills of Rome. It appeared on the Palatine Hill as the distinct tongue of a small group of people. In fact, the site where the settlement was founded is believed to be the exact site of the Forum Romanum, the Roman square, which was recognized as the heart of the city of Rome and therefore of the Roman Empire, and you can visit there today. Coming into us and U.S. use of Latin, about 80% of the entire entries in the English language are borrowed mainly from Latin. 60% of them, of all English words, have Greek or Latin roots, and about 10% of the Latin vocabulary has found its way directly into English without any intermediary. So it's not Latin by way of Spanish or Latin by way of French. And in fact, Latin probably has the largest number of words that are literally pure 100% Latin rather than translations thereof. So let us begin our odyssey into Latin words. Ad idem. Ad idem is a good thing, defined as towards the same. When used in legal cases or in records, the parties agree over something. So to fully understand the agreement and consequences, both parties must be ad idem. And you're going to find here that a number of phrases are legal. For those of you that watched Bull and other, I'm trying to think of the other lawyer shows, but a lot of the words that are used in those are Latin words, and we're going to look at some of them as we go through here. Ad hoc means for this. The term generally refers to a solution to a specific problem. An ad hoc committee might be created to handle green energy matters. We then move to ad infinitum. Ad infinitum means infinity. When this term is used in law, it means to continue without limit or non-terminating. Proof requires facts to be determined, to be demonstrated and repeated ad infinitum. And a way that you and I might use it with a sibling or somebody else, are you going to continue this argument ad infinitum? Are you going to continue this fill in the blank ad infinitum, forever and ever. Ad litem as regards the action, typically used in estate and guardianship matters, and the sentence there would be, the guardian ad litem is responsible for the child. Affidavit is the Latin meaning to declare an oath or to declare on oath. It is a sworn statement of fact that might be used to clear an innocent person. So the prosecutor had a sworn affidavit in front of him. Alibi, well, that affidavit that we just talked about here might be the alibi, which is another place, used in law when someone provides evidence about their whereabouts when a crime or a situation happened. He had an alibi during the time of the crime was committed. So, alibi. Amicus curiae. Amicus curiae. Friend, amicus, and curiae of the court. So when you are an amicus curiae, you are a friend of the court. An amicus curiae was allowed to submit a brief report to support the claimant. Another abbreviation of that, if you will, is an amicus brief. What that amicus curiae presented was an amicus brief. So there's a short amicus curiae, the person, amicus brief, the item. Bona fide, in good faith. This originally described someone bargaining or working in good faith, meaning they could be trusted. Today it's used to describe anything real or authentic, as in the painting was a bona fide Picasso. Now, you may say, but there's also bona fide. Well, you know what? Bona fide is the anglicized conjunction and re-pronunciation of these two words. And according to Google, it ain't not right. It ain't not right. That ain't not a word, which is something I did not know until I put this presentation together. Carpe diem. Carpe diem, seize the day, originally coined by the Roman poet Horace to encourage people to live life to the fullest. The philosophy of carpe diem has served many successful leaders, military and otherwise, politicians over the centuries. Caveat emptor. Caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. This warning is so important. It's common to hear it in both English and Latin. The phrase warns or encourages people to think before they buy something, as they inherit the problems and additional expenses inherent with this purchase. So we're all familiar with the phrase, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Well, if the price sounds too low or the deal sounds too good, then caveat emptor, buyer beware. Cum laude. Cum laude, we're here in graduation time, high school graduations, college graduations, and the creme de la creme, that's the other language, that's a French one. The cum laude with honors, often added to diplomas to indicate a graduate has earned honors by receiving exemplary grades along the way. And if you're better than cum laude, you're summa cum laude with greatest distinguished, or magna cum laude with highest distinction. So you are a cum laude, a summa cum laude, and a magna cum laude. We then go to de facto. De facto, in fact, used to describe someone who does a job without being officially in that position. An example here is a de facto manager might be a regular worker who steps into a position to keep things rolling until the permanent replacement is named. De facto. E pluribus unum. We all should know this, out of many one, and it is, of course, the motto of the United States. The phrase e pluribus unum was adopted by our country's writers of the Constitution in 1776. excuse me, etc., etc., and the rest of such things. This is commonly abbreviated to ETC, and used at the end of a list to show that there are more items too similar and too numerous to name individually. For example, baseball, football, soccer, etc. are all outdoor games. We move on to ipso facto, by the fact itself, an often misused term denoting when something is truly by its very nature or as a direct result of an action. You can put in a sentence, when you fail to stop your friend from stealing, you are ipso facto an accomplice to the theft. Now, when you have done your ipso facto, being an accomplice to something, you might want to then issue a mea culpa. Mea culpa is through my own fault. My bad. It's a short phrase of accepting both blame and apologizing for something going wrong. So in the sentence, please accept my mea culpa for making such a big mistake, for messing up so bad. Per diem. Per diem. This is per day, for each day. Used in legal and accounting business to refer to payments rendered on a daily basis. It also is used in business travel compensation. I'll give you a couple examples here. Many nurses work on a per diem basis, being paid by the day without having a long-term contract. You also have workers are often given an additional per diem when traveling. So somebody that's perhaps an hourly worker or a salaried person that works 9 to 5 and then is asked to travel and do things that he would normally have to pay for himself, or would not have to normally pay for himself, they then give them a per diem allowance for that, for those expenses. Pro bono, for the good, actually a shortened version of pro bono publico. Pro bono publico, which means for the greater good. This is a legal term that refers to doing work without pay as a donation or of services. When a lawyer works pro bono, it's free because he or she believes in the cause. Pro forma, as a matter of form, refers to doing things in the proper way, typically by following all the steps, even when these steps may not be necessary. When we do this pro forma inspection, it means we're covering all the steps required by the manufacturer. Pro forma. Vice versa. Vice versa. The position being reversed. Using after a sentence or phrase, it shows that it could also make sense if you swap the two parts with each other. She loves her husband and vice versa. Now, here's another situation. We've all heard vice versa. Well, if you put vice versa, it's going to come back to vice versa. Vice versa ain't not right. Vice versa is right. And we're going to end this wonderful odyssey with rigor mortis, the stiffness of death, a medical term described what happens to a body several hours after death. It stiffens to the point of being unable to move. The victim was dead so long, rigor mortis has already set in. And hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, that has not happened here, that you are not in any state of rigor mortis. And going forward, we are going to be able to look at much more in specific categories and examples in specific industries and applications. And those are all to come going forward. Oh, here, that word there. Here's some lagniappe. This is a Cajun French word. If any of you know what a beignet is, anybody that's been to New Orleans know what a beignet is. Well, the lagniappe on a beignet is the powdered sugar. So I'm going to give you a little powdered sugar here. One of those things is you can have your very own copy of That Ain't Not Right, the Use and Abuse of the English Language. Simply head to Amazon under my name or the title, and it's all yours. You can also join the That Ain't Not Right, Use and Abuse of the English Language. Again, go to my website and you can get it there. And with that, And the time has run out. I return control to Dr. Jacalyn.
Woohoo! I loved it. Your personality really came out in it. I felt like I was watching like a Broadway show or something.
One-man show.
One-man show. And it's funny because I use a lot of those words and I had no idea that they had Latin origin. That's
interesting.
And no, nobody was in rigor mortem. We were all totally paying attention to what you were saying. Megan, what would you like to add?
I love just the reminder of the words and just how much of our language is ingrained in the Latin, and from Latin. And I always think at Christmas time because of Latin Christmas carols. And so it's fun to hear the words and just always think of where our language came from. So we're smarter.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was it the original Bible was in Latin? No. There's Latin in the Bible.
The original scrolls and things were translated into Latin.
Okay. All right. I knew it was there somewhere. So come on.
It's probably Latin is the first compilation of all of the books of the Bible that were written in other, languages. So Latin is the first compilation language.
Okay. I like how you both knew that answer. Excellent. Thank you, Hiett. Brilliant as always. Megan, how do you feel? Are you ready to go?
Sure.
All right.
Definitely. Do we go now or do we go to a commercial first?
Well, we can go to a commercial first, and then when we come back, then we'll go to you. Sound good?
All righty.
All right. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mindy Thomas, founder of Thomas Career Consulting. If you are dealing with the stress of having been terminated or being laid off, considering a career change, or you simply cannot land a job with your current resume, you came to the right place. My professional expertise centers on being trained in two distinct areas, career counseling and career marketing. I am also the host of Career Chat, a weekly talk show which appears on RVN TV. My end game is helping you to overcome the self-doubt, the fear, and the other barriers you are facing right now in a very tricky, perplexing, and complicated job market. .5 seconds. That's how much time it takes a recruiter to scan your resume. On top of that, electronic applicant tracking systems may reject you even if you have the skills, education, and experience. I teach you how to win when you absolutely have to. My resume writing practice is built on a personalized, collaborative, and strategic approach that showcases your accomplishments in a way to get you noticed. At the center of my strategy is identifying your strengths and targeted keywords to make you stand out from the competition. As a professional resume writer, I know what it takes to impress even the most discriminating hiring manager. Changing careers, launching a new one, overwhelmed or stuck in a dead-end job? I have more than 2 decades of experience as a Georgetown-trained leadership coach, resume writer, career counselor, and recruiter. So whether you're a student, a top executive, or simply struggling to find your own career identity and you're feeling lost, you can count on me to lead you through the journey of self-discovery. I will formulate a step-by-step plan that begins with the assessment of your skills, your interests, your values, and your personality, and then explore the opportunities that are best suited to align with you. In essence, what makes sense for you? With 25 years of business experience, I have been privileged to work with a diverse group of adults, from young high school students to the millennials, the generation X, Y, and Z, and boomers. Let me put that to work for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You're watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You, lessons from the best, where are they over here? The best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. Hiett Ives, who is the author of That Ain't Not Right, just did a presentation on grammar and the origins of Latin words in the English language. And now Megan Sandwick, who is a strategic productivity partner down with SPP, she's going to do her presentation. So Hiett and I will just get lost while you go ahead and present.
I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
And I'm going to start my timer. I can get a little chatty, as you all know sometimes. I want to be sure I'm on time. Okay, so let's get the presentation going. And hello, everybody. So today what we want to talk about is something that's near and dear to my heart. It is the stages of the productivity habit cycle. It's about a positive habit improvement process. And so one of the reasons I want to talk about the stages of the productivity habit cycle is because I think it's important that we're honest and we realize that productivity habits are a cycle. When you think about it, productivity, just like life, is a cycle. It's not going to stay the same. It's not going to stay stagnant. It's not going to stay static. There's going to be changes. And so it's important, I think, that we are honest to say, okay, there are stages of the productivity habit cycle. Let's talk about the improvement process. Let's talk about what it's like to go through, and let's talk about what it feels like. So that's what we're going to do today, and I'm pretty excited to share this with you. So you might look at this. So you will see on my screen right now, I have the 4 stages of the productivity cycle listed right here. I'm going to tell you about them, but before I do that, I want to let you know where they came from. So I worked in corporate America and was a manager supervisor for over 20 years. I managed offices, supervised. I was a national project manager, and I implemented contracts around the country. So I have a lot of experience working with people and teams. And I was very lucky that way last century, back in the 1900s, when I started on this journey as a manager, I was able to go through a lot of different training that really helped me during my career. And one of the trainings that I went to was talking about stages of team building. And so in stages of team building, we talked about how it's a cycle, and that there are 4 stages of team building: forming, storming, norming, and performing. And so as a manager, after learning about this, I would realize that when you start a new project or when you have new team members, when you're working with the team, there is a cycle and there are stages. Think about it. When you started a new job, it's forming, you're excited, everything's new, and everyone's eager. And then the work starts, and maybe not everything's going as well as you thought, and there are some issues. And that's when people can kind of, when you think about it, forming, it's the honeymoon stage. It's when people are going to Starbucks together, coffee together, lunch together. And then you move into storming, where it's just not the same. You move into storming, where things are starting to not work as well. There's some issues you have to learn. And then you move into norming, right? After that storming of this isn't as easy and where we want it to be. As a team, you move into norming, where everyone's finding their groove, where people are coming and they know what's going on. And that's where you're able to really learn about growing as a team, whatever your project is and whatever you're doing. Then you move into performing. That's the 4th stage of a team. And that's when teams start to make improvements, find who experts are. And so I did see these 4 stages: forming, storming, norming, and performing with my teams all the time when I was a manager. So as we know, I left corporate America and moved to the remote world and moved to being a productivity partner. And over the last year, as I've been working with my clients, I began to realize that the stages of the team forming are very similar to how we respond to productivity habits. And so one of the things that I realized is that the same 4 stages happen and we are impacted as people when we are making changes and updates to our productivity cycle. So I started to realize and started working with my clients, realizing that whenever you're starting a new productivity habit, there are going to be 4 stages. There's going to be forming of, yes, I love this idea. Let's say it was that you're going to use a new Trello board, right? So let's say we're working together. You're like, okay, I need to get my stuff in order. So I'm going to use a Trello board. So you start to implement it and you're ready to go. So that forming stage, you're like, yes, oh, look, there's colors. I can change the background. There's flags. You're excited because you're forming and you're seeing the possibility. So the same stages and habits that we go through for a team, we go through ourselves. So as we're looking again and forming, let's say we're using Trello as an example. So we're excited, we're ready to go, right? We're eager and we're moving forward, and it's a process. One of the things that happens is we know that in every element, right, of a cycle and in every element of a stage, there's going to be what happens, and then there's going to be our response and the lifeline that we cling to so that we can succeed in creating productivity habits. So we started talking about how using adding a Trello board, right? How that can be a new productivity habit, and so we can go through the stages. So as we said, excited at the beginning, yes, productivity. There's a Trello board. I've got everything in one place. I can share it with everyone. You're really, really excited. It's important to know about these stages, right? So we're going to walk through the stages, but we're going to walk through them and specifically ask, okay, so what is our response and our lifeline? Because it's a cycle and we need to keep moving forward. As humans, our tendency might be to give up and say, forget it. So we're going to talk right now about how we would go through that process and then what our response and our lifelines can be to make sure that we implement habits that are successful. So again, we've got a new Trello board. We're excited, right? So what should our response be? Do we need a lifeline? It's important for us to remember whenever we're creating new productivity habits that we need to remember the end in mind, right? So we need to begin with the end in mind, and we need to remember, why is it that we're making this change? Why is it that we're adding this habit to our life? What is it that we need to do from this? In the forming stage, it's important to remember the end because it will help us along the flow and it will help us to set ourselves up for success. If I know that the reason I want to implement a Trello board into my daily project management, task management process, the reason I want to do it, I'm going to begin with the end in mind here. The reason I want to do that is so that I have one place to go to get all my tasks and simplify my life. It's important in that forming stage to remember, I'm ready to do this. Let's go. Let's get everything into one place. It's also important when we're in that forming stage, in that forming part of the cycle, that we can't have judgment. There needs to be no judgment about what we are doing. When we're creating new productivity habits, when we're adding a Trello board or anything to our lives, we can't judge what we're doing about it because that's going to start that self-talk and that's going to start that doubt. And so we don't want to judge, we want to do, and we want to find our flow. It's important to be intentional with the changes that you are making. And it's important to know, again, why it is that you're doing it. In that forming process, it's exciting. So remember why you're doing it. Find accountability, right? It's whenever you're starting a new habit, a new process, find accountability from the beginning. Strategic productivity partner or anybody that can help you, a friend, a colleague, a resource that you know. Have them help you. Let them know what you're doing so that when there's that frustration, you can call on them and they're there for you. So that first part of creating new productivity habits is in that forming. We want to form the habit, see what's going to happen with it. And we're excited. We're ready to go. The second stage, then we move into storming. And storming, I'll be honest with you, when it comes to team building, storming was my favorite part. Now, my teams don't like hearing about this. When it comes to working with clients and productivity habits and myself and productivity habits, I think storming is the most important stage of the cycle because in storming, it's no longer the honeymoon period. You're realizing, oh, this is going to take work. I thought this was supposed to be easier, but it's going to take ongoing work. For example, with the Trello board, if I'm going to keep a Trello board updated with my current tasks and priorities, I'm actually going to have to spend time with it regularly. It's not just going to happen automatically. And so the storming process, as we need to remember that at this point, things are not easy. Things aren't comfortable yet. We're not happy. We want it. We bought something and the goods haven't completely arrived yet. So things are feeling a little uncomfortable. This is the place when we are most likely to abandon the process. And I'm here to tell you, remember you are storming. Remember when you're building habits, it's not always going to be easy. At that point, you need to remember your response and your lifeline. When things are storming, so that means that things aren't going the way you thought, they're not showing up the way that you were going to be. It's not just, oh, the thoughts in my head just aren't in my Trello board. I actually need to get them there. Oh, I need to update statuses. So when you're in that storming part, it's important to say, okay, what's my lifeline? This is what I'm going to say. It's important. And this one you need to follow. When you're feeling that frustration, stop and step away from your project. Stop and step away from your project. When you're in a place of storming and frustration, it is not going to end positively unless you put some time and space into that moment of storming. So it's important to stop, step away from your project. I always say take a walk. For me, I love some beach time at this point, but it's one of those things where you need some space between whatever it is that you expected or the task you're working on, the thought process you had. You need some space. So you need to stop, take a walk, call in a lifeline, phone a friend if that is necessary, call in a lifeline. Just again, remember, you need to keep going. So it's important here to say, all right, I know things are storming. I know they're not going the way that I want. I'm going to remember the end in mind. And I'm going to say, I'm going to step away from my project. I'm going to take a walk, some beach time, and I'm going to reset I'm going to come back resetting with a new outlook. Because remember, the habit that you are committing to is important to your personal growth. It's important to your professional growth. It's important to your life. And so when you're feeling frustrated, it was supposed to be easier. That's the best time when you need to stop and say, okay, I know this is storming. And so I'm going to stop for a minute, because the good news is after you're done storming, that's when it's norming, right? That's when you're beginning to say, oh, I'll see where this is going. So for example, with Trello, that's when you get the notification that, hey, you have a deadline tomorrow. And you realize, oh, I need to work on that today. That's when you realize that notification, that process that you set up, it's working, it's there, it's becoming normal. You'll begin to expect that notification. The response in Lifeline when you're in norming needs to be, this is not the time to overthink. Remember, we just got out of storming and now we're in norming. And so we want to do, when you think about it, 24 hours in a day is a lot of time for our brains to be going and to spin them up. And so what we need to do is say, at norming, I see where this is. It's part of my day. It's part of my process. So this is not the time to overthink. You don't want to stop. It's about keeping forward, keeping focused, and having fun, because now remember, things are showing up. You have reports that show, oh, I finished 40 tasks last week. I thought I didn't think I did anything, but it looks like I did. So it's becoming a normal part of your process. The best part is after norming, we move into performing. And when you're performing, that is when it's kind of that moment. Do you remember and think about projects? When you're walking in and it's just humming, or you're at your desk and things are just moving the way they're supposed to. Again, in the office setting, this is where you could feel, as a manager, I could always feel, I knew when my teams were performing because it was a feeling and you could just see it, right? That's kind of the same thing with productivity habits. When you're performing with your productivity habits, they're second nature. They're built in. They're part of your day. You know that you need to spend time updating your Trello board. You know you're going to get notifications of events when they need to come over. So at this point, it's important to acknowledge the process. Ask what's next. It's important to ask what's next. So this is the part where we get to perform. You're on stage, right? There's a region. We're calling this a stage because you're performing. So it's time to ask what's next. How can I be better? What are the lessons I want to learn? It's so important when you're thinking about the productivity cycle to remember that it's going to go in all 4 stages, right? The good news about a productivity cycle is that you can move forward as you're gaining, right? You're going to move forward. An important element to remember with the productivity cycle, and when we're talking about these tips, is that as soon as you are comfortable with something, it's a cycle, so it's going to start over. So anytime you add something new or make a change, you're going to go back to forming, storming, norming, and performing. The good thing is, and an important reminder, the best way to get to where you want to be is through where you are. So it's important to stick with your habits and remember that it's a cycle. And remember that there's 4 stages, right? Forming, storming, norming, and performing. It's time for us to think about what you're going to do with this. It's time for you to take control of your habits. So here's my challenge. Identify what stages you're in. Take the time to say, okay, what habits am I working on with my productivity right now? Habits, tools, schedule, anything like that, anything that's contributing to your productivity. Identify all of the habits, tools that you use. Ask yourself what your current stage is. Ask yourself and identify, where am I? For example, with me, with marketing, I'm launching a new newsletter right now. And so for right now, I am in storming. And so there are a lot of feelings that go with that. So by me identifying it and acknowledging it, I'm able to say, okay, I see I'm storming. I need to go to norming. Here's what I'm going to do to get there. Take control of your stages, but take control of your productivity. Take control of your productivity habits so you can take control of your time. I want you to remember, it is a cycle. It's always going to be moving. It's about where it is right now and how you move forward. Find somebody that you can trust and help you guide through it, because our mindset is going to be what helps us get through productivity and help us to be more productive and implement those steps we want. If you have any questions, my name is Megan. I am your strategic productivity partner, and I would love to provide any support or answers that I can. Feel free to email me or ask any questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacalyn.
Bravo, bravo. I
Thank you.
love the inflection in your voice. You seemed very excited and engaged. And one thing that really resonated with me is I have a very hard time walking away from something to get a different perspective, because I think I don't have the time. I just have to do it. But you really have to take the time and clear your mind, and then you come back with a whole different perspective.
That is true. So important to remember that our mind and the energy in our mind, if it's full and heavy and it has all of those emotional attachments, we're going to work harder to get to where we want. And so it's important that it's actually saving time. And I know when I tell clients that, no, if you stay working today, it is not going to work out. You need to take a break. And in the long run, it will be better.
We have a comment. Well, hello, Author, our friend Author from Clubhouse. That was amazing.
Hey, Malika, thank you.
Thanks for being here. Beautiful. Hiett, anything you want to share with Megan? Oh, no, we can't hear you. Okay. Oh, no, we can't hear you now.
You should be
Thank you
there.
for being
How about
There
that?
you are. There you are.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I like the way you walk through the 4 steps: the forming, storming, norming, and performing, and then build on it. Very nicely done.
Thank you. Thank
Nicely
you.
done. We have another comment. This is a little self-indulgent by me showing it, but yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, that's our show for today. And once again, 2 dynamite lessons. If you missed the beginning of the show, please go over to our YouTube channel, Dr. Jacalyn LLC. And I know, Megan, you're presenting again this week on Thursday, I believe.
Tomorrow.
Hiett, I don't know if you're on again this week or not, are you? Friday. There you are. Yeah. See, they keep coming back. This is what I'm saying to you. If you're not presenting your expertise somewhere, somehow, I highly encourage you to do it, because people want to learn how to be better personally and professionally. So
Can I give a commercial to encourage people to come tomorrow?
Yes, go ahead.
Tomorrow, it's about the treasure of your vital information and how you're capturing it, because it's gold. And so we're going to talk about the treasure of your vital information.
All right. Thank you very much.
To play this game, if you want to learn the influence of the Chinese language on English, y'all come back Friday.
All right. Why not come back Thursday and Friday? Come every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, because we have dynamite lessons for you. So thank you again. Megan, contact information for you, please.
If you have any questions or want to reach out to me, my website is downwithspp.com, and you can always email me at megan@downwithspp.com.
I always feel like the song, hey, downwithspp.com. That ain't not right. Yes. Hiett, what about you and your contact information for people on the radio?
It's all there. Hiett at HiettIves.com. That's Hiett, Hiett. Sounds like the hotel spelled differently. Hiett at HiettIves.com. 832-372-6900. That's 832-372-6900.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing both of you later in the week.
Likewise.
Well, I hope that you're as excited as I am about those two incredible lessons. So much information to take and incorporate into our lives if we want to be better personally and professionally. I just want to share with everyone, I'm so excited about my first published book. You're going to hear me talking a lot about it. Why? Because I need you to buy it and write reviews so I can be a #1 best-selling author. Yes, that's something that I dream of. That's really important to me. So I hope that you buy the book. It's over on Amazon. It's my authentic share about personal stories that happened to me in the corporate world and how and why I left. I had a great career, but there were things that took place while I was there, and I just share openly. And then how I actually built this platform. We started out just on the radio, on the phone, with Business Talk Radio. We had an interview going that way. Then we moved to Zoom. Then we moved to StreamYard. We were doing streaming on one channel, then 2 channels. And now we have 11 different platforms and 17 shows a week. We are also in the process of launching a Better You with a capital U. So this is what you're watching today, are presentations. We're going to take these presentations combined with quizzes, and we're going to put them up on our learning platform to have the ability for you to get certified. So if you're a content creator, we welcome you to come onto the show or to package your own content in 15-minute lessons. If you are a student or someone who is wanting to learn more information, how to be better personally or professionally, this platform is for you. We're launching July the 1st, and our platform will include gamification to keep you interested and encouraged to keep coming and taking more lessons. And in the second phase of our launch, we will be rolling out a reward and recognition program. Also, under A Better You, we have our in-person event, Journey to a Better You. This will be happening in person. It's a symposium and trade show encompassing the events. We will be offering limited availability to the first 1,000 people. Why should you attend? Because you're going to be educated, entertained, and given expert information by our panel of presenters. We will have keynote speakers, we'll have networking events, and then of course we'll have the trade show floor. So if you're a coach, consultant, trusted advisor, someone who's in human resources, someone who supplies to all these industries, we'd love to have you with us. And if you're someone who wants to continue expanding your knowledge, your growth, and interacting with some of the most talented people in the world, please look at coming to our event. We will start registration. Early registration will be in August. So that's all I have for you right now. Our next show, In the Name of Love, is happening at 5:30 Eastern Time, which is 10:30 British Summer Time. We'll look forward to seeing you there. Thanks to Hiett and Megan for doing such a great job today. We'll see you again.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.